Tonight's forecast is sponsored by Ashbrook Audiology, where relationships matter.
And welcome back, everybody. I'm Weatherman Dustin Staples here with you on this Thursday. As you're getting ready for the weekend, we are going to see some much calmer conditions as the storms will be moving out of our area. Any rain showers you do see persisting will begin to come to an end before the midnight hour. So that'll be some good news. And now the other concern we'll be dealing with will be the wind. But I do want to begin with our drought monitor. I thought I'd expand our area. As you know, I typically just kind of highlight Virginia and our coverage area, but this is with the entire southeast projection. Of course, as you kind of see there, the color codes are on your right of your screen there. You're looking at that, or left for weather, but you do see much of Virginia is doing pretty well. Nothing to be concerned about. Since we've had enough rain events over the last several weeks, we've been able to get out of a drought, so that's some good news. Our friends down to the south along the Carolina coast and South Carolina particularly are seeing the abnormally dry to a moderate drought. There is also an exceptional drought in parts of the state of the Carolina coast. So along the beaches, they are also in die hard of rain expected. And of course, down further, the 995 intersection there going towards Georgia and Florida, they're also seeing a bit of a concern for drought too. But other than that, most of the southeast is doing fairly okay, particularly in our part of the region. So that is some good news with that. Our temperatures tonight, though, are going to remain variably warm. And also, you've been noticing an uptick in the humidity as we've been out today, thanks to that southerly flow that has given us that chance of some early summer taste in our backyard. So you may have been noticing, wow, it feels a little bit warmer and maybe a little bit more stickier as well. So the winds have been prompting as well. Our temperatures are going to go from the 70s and we'll stay in the 60s. We'll drop in the overnight hours in the 50s with overcast skies, maybe a stray shower here and again or there, but I'm not expecting any widespread thunderstorms to continue overnight, as most of this rain will be out of here by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. So other than that, we'll see some variably cloudy skies as you are beginning the day on your Friday. Very windy, and it's going to remain cooler than our average high for this time of year as we do begin April. This is no April Fool's joke by no means. It's going to feel like the 40s for most of the day, particularly to our friends out to the west. I'll show you your area-wide temperatures in just a second. As you see here, mild and breezy. That's going to be the theme for your Friday. We'll begin to see those winds continue to kick up through the rest of the day on your Friday, and they'll also somewhat starting to diminish later in your Friday night hours as the overnight lows are going to fall in the 30s into the low 20s. So just keep all of that in mind. If you have any plants outdoors, you may want to bring them in, or better yet, you may want to keep them in for the weekend. As you see, we'll showcase that in just a second. But again, our main concern for tomorrow, again, our winds are going to be gusting high as 30 miles per hour everywhere you see on this map is what you get. Mid 50s and low 40s, excuse me, upper 40s to low 50s for our friends out towards the west of Medicine Dam, as well as Kreitz and Czech. Those general areas in the communities out there towards Floyd, I know that's going up the Route 8 corridor, but again, things are going to remain chilly and breezy from time to time. The good news is, again, the winds will begin to diminish from a west northerly flow to the northerly flow, feeling a lot more cooler as you're getting your weekend started. I do want to showcase our pollen forecast as well. As you're probably noticing that the pollen has been pretty high. We're now in that typical time of the year where you are going to be needing your allergy medication. Obviously, be sure to talk with your doctor to make sure you're having the prescribed medication you need. High levels all through the weekend. Maple, oak, and juniper are your main primary bloomers this time of year. And also, you're noticing the grass and these weeds are getting high. Maybe you want to break out the lawnmower, not do mowing just yet. Of course, we're going to have a lot of that wind whipping around. And of course, with the wet ground, you want to give it a day or two to sort of dry out for a little bit. So maybe do some maintenance on your lawn equipment out there and getting ready. You know, maybe your grass is starting to look like this because we've had several rain events over the last couple of weeks. Or also, if it's not looking like this, you can also consider, thanks to the overnight cold weather, thanks to that's also allowing the grass not to grow as much, thanks Thankfully, our soil temperatures, though, are getting above freezing as we haven't been so extremely cold, as our overnight lows haven't been floating in the teens and 20s here recently, more like the upper 20s and low to mid 30s and 40s. So once again, high pollen all through the weekend. Just keep that in mind as you're making your plans. If you're going to be out and about, it is going to be breezy and it's going to be a warm all at the same time. Our temperatures again for Saturday of showcasing mid 60s and upper 50s for the entire coverage area. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds there. High getting right around 62. Our lows all back in the 30s and 40s again. So if you do have some plans on planting, I want to go ahead and just make a to-do list of getting things to buy for you. Or if you had stuff already you've bought earlier, for back in March, as you remember, we had those 70s and the mid-warm weather that occurred earlier the month of March. That is kind of teases people to let you know, man, is summer here or spring good, or spring is here for good. Right now, we're not going to be seeing a guaranteed of spring-like weather. We are, but we're not going to talk about extremely warm temperatures, but nor are we going to talk about any more frigid like lows for the next several weeks anyway. Our highs are going to get back in the mid 60s on Sunday. It'll be breezy, and Monday will also feature highs back up near 70 with those winds beginning to diminish. Overnight lows go from the mid 30s to the mid 40s as you make your way for the upcoming weekend. So I know a lot of you are been itching to get outdoors, and I understand that it's been that very interesting time of the year where the weather is up and down, more like a seesaw pattern, as some days it's warm and some mornings it's very cold, and in the afternoon we are just beginning to get that spring-like feel in the air. As you know, as we do begin April, we typically start to talk about the severe weather threat, as this is now primary season. Between April and through mid-June, we typically see the severe weather strike as we are beginning to go from our spring to summer pattern here pretty soon. That's something we're keeping a close eye on. And of course, thankfully, you know, the weather has been fairly okay with us. Thankfully, the last couple of months, minus some snow we saw back in January, and then we did begin to see a temperature flip-flop for a while, and then we cooled off, and now it does appear we're going to remain very stable as we make our way, as we head towards the first couple of weeks of April. So warm weather fans, it looks like your time is here, Luis. I know he's very appreciative of the nice warm weather just for you, my friend. But of course, I always tell people I'm not in production, I'm just in promotion, looking at the computer models, looking at the correct data to give you, to make sure that we have what hopefully you want to see for this time of year. All right, that's enough of my time here for you. I really appreciate your time and company. As always, thanks so much for making your time to spend with us on our Martinsville, Henry County 5 p.m. Weekend newscast, and of course our Thursday edition too. We're going to turn things back over as we are going to thank a few of our sponsors who make this weathercast and our newscast possible as well. I'll see you next week. Remember, the wind will be out there for much of Friday. Cooler overnight lows back in the 30s. So if you do have plans overnight, bring a coat with you. But again, the sunshine will expect it to linger through much of the weekend. I'll see you next week.
Your BTW21 weather forecast is sponsored by Zentmeyer Chiropractic.